Hello students, let me now explain to you about the animal interrelationship. It is a very interesting topic about animal interaction. Already you know that in a community there will be a heterogeneous assemblage of plants and animals. The animals and plants are drawn from different taxonomic groups. They may be distantly related or closely related, but they are interdependent and interacting in many ways. No animal can live alone or keep aloof from other organisms of their habitat. So, an animal has to depend on other organisms of the same habitat for food, shelter, or substratum. The relationship between them may be intraspecific or interspecific. When the association exists between the two individuals of the same species, it is known as intraspecific relationship. But in interspecific relationship, a remarkable association exists between two different species belonging to different genera, families, order, or phyla. The intraspecific relationship is mainly for breeding. During breeding season, the males and females form a group. We can observe this type of behavior in marine organisms like polychaete worms and fishes. They will aggregate on the water surface during full moon day for breeding. Sometimes the individuals of the same species congregate in a common place for shelter and food. Ants, fishes, birds and mammals exhibit such relationship. It is a beneficial one for social insects like honeybees, ants, termites, etc. because the members of the colony perform various duties and lead lives successfully. But when group of animals belonging to the same species congregate in one place, there will be a competition for food, shelter and reproduction. The interspecific relationship may be between two plants, a plant and an animal, or animal with animal. It is classified into three types: neutralism, symbiosis and antagonism. In neutralism, no species is affected. For example, a bird and squirrel are living in a tree. Both of them are neither benefited nor harmed. In symbiotic association, both the partners are benefited. It can be further classified as mutualism and commensalism. Antagonism is quite different from symbiotic relationship where the benefit is always one-sided. Definitely, one partner is harmed or killed. It is of four types, namely antibiosis, parasitism, predation and competition. This table clearly explains to you about different types of interspecific relationship. Here, in the neutralism, neither species is affected. Mutualism, commensalism, favorable for both the species. In antibiosis, almost both the species or one species is affected. Next one, antagonism is a one-sided relationship and harmful to one member. For example, in antibiosis, one partner inhibits or kills the partner. The inhibition is brought about by the secretion of toxin called antibiotic. It does not affect the organism which secretes it, but it kills other organisms. The toxic substance produced by microcystis algae kills freshwater fishes. In predation, one animal kills and devours other animal for food. It may be a herbivore or a carnivore. For example, a lion is a predator and a zebra is a prey. Competition is a rivalry between two animals for a common resource. For example, a deer competes with the tiger. A tiger needs food. It chases a deer, the deer wants to live. It runs away. It is a competition in animals. Parasitism is a one-sided relationship where one partner is benefited at the expense of the other. The parasite lives inside or on the body of the host. So, they can be an endoparasite or ectoparasite. The parasite exploits the resources of the host. Tapeworm, ascaris, ticks and mites are few examples for parasites. Not like antagonism, symbiotic association is a healthy association. Many animals and plants exhibit this life relationship. Quite number of examples are there, we can see few of them. The term mutualism literally means living together, and the association between the two partners is very close and both the partners are equally benefited. It can be further divisible into mutualism with continuous contact and mutualism without continuous contact. First one, mutualism with continuous contact. It is otherwise known as obligatory or compulsory relationship. It is a permanent relationship. A physiological interdependence can be seen between two partners. When one of the partner is separated, both the individuals will not survive as they depend each other for metabolism. It is a quite common between plant and animal species. Here, a fungus and algae live together as if it were a single species. The fungus forms an enveloping sheath, and in between the mycelia, the algal cells are found. The mycelia of the fungus absorb water and minerals for themselves and also for the partner algae. In turn, algal cells synthesize carbohydrates to the fungus. Thus, both the partners depend on each other for their life activity. Next example, rhizobium and the root nodules of leguminous plants. The bacterium Rhizobium produces nodules on the roots of leguminous plants. The bacteria fixes up atmospheric nitrogen in the nodules in the form of nitrates. The plants utilize these nitrates. The bacteria in turn obtain carbohydrate and other substances from plants. Mutualism exists between the sea anemone and the hermit crab. The hermit crab lives inside the dead gastropod shell, and the sea anemone is attached on the surface of the shell. We know that sea anemone is a sedentary organism. Wherever the crab moves, the sea anemone is also carried to the different places. The sea anemone shares food captured by the crab and in turn gives protection to the crab by its stinging cells. In the same way, crab carries sponges from one place to another and supplies food, and sponges give protection to the crab like a shell. An interesting mutualism is found between the wood-eating termites and the protozoan flagellate Trichonympha. These flagellates are found in the foregut of these termites and can digest the cellulose consumed by the termites by producing an enzyme called cellulase. So, the termites depend on them for digestion, without which termites cannot survive. The flagellates convert the cellulose into absorbable material, acetic acid. By this, both the partners are benefited. An obligatory relationship exists between Zooxanthella and coral polyp and also sea anemone. The coral polyp provides protection and substratum for flagellates, and they in turn remove the nitrogenous waste products and carbon dioxide from the polyp. The zoochlorellae cells are seen growing in the outer tissues of coelentrates and give it greenish appearance. The algal cells release oxygen during photosynthesis and produce nitrogen compounds which are beneficial to the host. In turn, the algae obtain a suitable matrix for their growth and nutrients from the animals' metabolic processes. Mutualism without continuous contact is a temporary association only for a short period, mainly for nutritional requirement. The pollination of flowers by butterflies, hummingbirds and bees are the examples for mutualism without continuous contact. The insects and birds derive food from the nectar and in turn carry pollen from one flower to the stigma of the another, thus ensuring cross-pollination. Aphids are sap-sucking insects found on plants. Certain ants maintain a population of aphids in their nests. Sometimes aphids are carried by the ants out of their nest and are allowed by the ants to feed on leaves. The aphids' eggs are laid on the plants above the ground and carried down into the ant nest, where these are sheltered during the winter until they hatch. So ants give protection. In turn, ants obtain a sweet exudation from the hind end of the alimentary canal by striking aphids' abdomen with their antennae. Hence, aphids are popularly known as ant cows. The cowbird, oxpecker, and white heron are found sitting on the back of the grazing animals. The birds pick off ticks and other external parasites. These form food for the birds. The grazing animals get two benefits. They get rid of external parasites. They get early warning about approaching of enemies by the activity of birds as watchmen. In commensalism, one partner is benefited and the other partner is not harmed. The partners are called commensals. In literally means eating at the same table as guest or messmate. It is of two types: commensalism with continuous contact and commensalism without continuous contact. Depending upon the presence of commensal on the host, it is classified into ectocommensal and endocommensal. First one, commensalism with continuous contact. It is a permanent contact with the partner. Some plants live as attached epiphyte on the surface of the animals. For example, green algae grows on the long grooved hairs of the sloth. Basicladia algae is seen growing on the back of the freshwater turtle. So, these animals give only substratum for the algae to grow. Commensalism without continuous contact. This is a temporary contact for short time and it is mostly for protection. For example, Echinus is a marine teleost fish commonly called as sucker fish. The dorsal fin of the fish is modified into ovoid disc-like structure known as sucker. With the help of this sucker, the fish attaches itself to the body surface of the shark fish. Hence, the Echinus is transported to distant places. It swims around feeding on the scraps of the food left behind by the shark and reattaches itself to the surface of the shark. Thus, Echinus is benefited and the partner shark is not harmed. Here, the clownfish lives among the poisonous tentacles of the sea anemone. The fish is protected by a mucus coat. The sea anemone does not get any benefit, but the fish get food and protection. Certain fishes conceal themselves by closely attached with the larger and voracious animals. The pilot fish follows the shark but does not attaches itself with it, but they get food and protection because other animals will not approach the shark. Similarly, certain fishes find shelter under the umbrella of Physalia, commonly known as Portuguese man of war, and is a deadly poisonous jellyfish. It can kill almost all the fishes with the help of tentacles, but small fish, Nomius, lives among the tentacles freely as commensal and fulfills its needs. Here, the pea crab, Pinotherus, lives in the mantle cavity of mussels. The crab obtains protection and food from the mussel, that is, from the water entering inside the mantle cavity. The decapod crustacean Polynex lives in the U-tube of Chaetopterus. It obtains food particles and oxygen supply from the water entering the tube due to the pumping action of the worms Parapodia. A small tropical fish, Pherespher, lives within the cloacal chamber of the sea cucumber without disturbing it. The fish usually comes out to feed in the neighbor hood and again attach with the sea cucumber. Trees support the lives of many larger organisms. Trees are used for food, shelter and sites for reproduction. Many animals also use tree for resting, nesting or to capture prey. So all the animals are benefited from a tree. Like this we can give lot of examples about symbiotic relationship. So, for any organism living alone is impossible. In an ecosystem, organisms are associated with one another. Successful survival depends on the intimacy of association and it is crucially important for getting food, shelter and for meeting other necessities. Like elephants and baboons, man also has to depend on other organisms and plants for his needs. So save the animals and save the environment. Thank you.